Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Border Battle Show. The Vikings are a gift that keeps on giving if you are a Packers fan, as they basically eliminate themselves from playoff contention by falling to the Bears, and now can give the Packers the greatest Christmas gift of all by possibly basically clinching the number one seed for the Packers. What a day to be alive.
I was excited for a Christmas game.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been exciting.
I was too.
Playoff implications.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does have playoff implications, but none that...
Only for the Saints.
Only for the Saints and Packers.
Yeah.
And that's not exciting at all.
Yeah. I mean, my enjoyment of the game, I guess I'll be rooting for the Vikings now on Christmas Day, which
At
is...
least one of us will be.
Yeah, are you just done now?
I'm pretty much
Is
done.
it over?
I mean, I looked at the draft pick order. Like, if we just lose out and go 7-9 or 6-10.
6 and 10.
6 and 10.
Yeah.
We could, if everyone else wins out in
That's a good
the
pick.
bad draft, yeah, we could still get a decent pick.
Yeah. I'm glad you're there. You may be wondering why there is no video today. We are recording during a massive blizzard and we are snowed in. It's gross out. Drive safe, everyone. But also, Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are doing well. Enjoy the Vikings game. Enjoy hanging out with your family. I
actually heard that Kirk Cousins is enjoying the snowstorm because now at least he has an excuse not to finish a drive.
Good one. Let's get right into the game, Tim, as I'm sure you have a lot of great things to say about it. First of all, the Vikings the Bears under Matt Nagy have won 5 of 6 games against the Vikings.
That's true, yeah.
Which, to me, is strange because, in my mind, the Vikings have been a better team than the Bears over the last 3 years.
Yep. They had the one really good year where their defense was clicking. Everything seemed to just click. Trubisky was all right enough, and they made the playoffs. That was the double doink year. Yeah, that year was good. But last year we were 10-6. They weren't great. And so, this year, it felt mostly like we were better. Like, we were underperforming, and they overperformed at the beginning of the year. But then you get to the last 2 weeks, and they say, "Okay, Nagy, you're not calling plays on offense anymore. This isn't your thing. Well, I assume the offensive coordinator's calling plays." And now they've scored over 30 in their last 2 games. They've won their last 2 games. So
the Bears have looked good the last 2 weeks, and I guess we maybe should have saw this coming a little bit more. Like during our prediction segment last week, we both basically said the Bears can't score points. The Vikings should win in a close one, and I think is what we were both thinking.
Yep.
Last time these teams played, the Vikings didn't let the Bears score a single touchdown on offense.
The only touchdown was a kick return and then 2 field goals. That's all they got.
That was it.
That was the best defensive performance by the Vikings all year.
Yeah, and I was kind of expecting more of that. But the Bears have been such an up and down team this year. Remember, this Bears team started out the season 5-1.
Yep. There was a week, a couple weeks into the year where they were first in division.
Yep. Yeah, the Bears were looking like a legitimate playoff contender, and then they proceeded to lose, 5 games in a row? Six in a row. 6 games in a row.
They were in free fall.
Yeah. We thought they were done.
Yep.
Maybe they're not, or maybe the Vikings are just really bad. Let's break it down. The Vikings defense played so badly in this game. David Montgomery went off. Yeah. He had his career high 146 yards. Do you know how many times they ran him?
I think it was 30-something.
32 times.
Yeah, it was not. They basically did to us what we do to other teams with Cook.
Yes.
It was not great.
Yeah, the Bears did the Vikings game plan better than the Vikings can do their game plan at this point. And it's because the Bears have a halfway decent defense and the Vikings don't even have a defense.
No. Our best player and the guy who I think could have slowed this down a lot. And I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying Kendricks was out.
Yep.
And all I'm saying is our defense is nothing. Like, we don't have that much.
And I mean, there's obviously been the injuries to a lot of your good pass rushers and stuff. Yeah. But that's been stuff that you've been dealing with all year. Right. But yeah, it was just obvious. The Vikings were not able to get any pressure on Trubisky at all. I think it was sacked once, and it was just kind of a weird play. And he had all the time he wanted. Montgomery would break every single tackle, and they just kept running him up the middle. The Vikings look like the Packers' run defense.
Yeah, it was not good. And what was weird is that throughout the game, we've seen this happen with the Vikings throughout the year. We start out slow, We did Cowboys, Jaguars, Panthers, and this game now, and I'm trying to think if there's others, where we started out slow, it didn't look like we had, and then we ended up coming back in the third, fourth quarter, making it closer, winning. Part of me just assumed that was going to happen again. Because it's happened so many times, and the Bears were a good team.
Yep.
And so I felt like that was going to happen until the end of the game, and then I realized, this isn't going to happen this time, and it's just over.
Yeah, and it felt like the Vikings had a lot of opportunities to win this game, as bad of a performance as it was. Because the offense did okay. You guys kept it close. There were a lot of points in this game where it was like the Bears would jump out to a bit of a lead. They go up 10 points or so, and then the Vikings would pull it back. They'd get a touchdown, pull it within 3, but they were never able to close that 3-point gap that they could get it to. The Bears led the entire game. They only punted one time, and that was on the opening possession.
Yeah.
The only other setback for the Bears that whole game was the interception that Trubisky threw in the end zone, which I thought was the momentum changer that gave the Vikings.
Yeah, no, it felt like it's like, okay, interception, now we score, we win. It's a nasty win, but we win, and that's just what the Vikings have been doing all year.
Yeah.
Not this time.
No.
I mean, maybe if you hit your wide receiver open in the end zone earlier, makes a difference.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson not super happy about that.
I mean, I love Diggs. I'll always defend Diggs.
Yeah.
But I think he handled it better than Diggs would have.
Probably.
From what we've seen in Diggs in the past.
There's a reson why Diggs isn't on the Vikings anymore.
Right.
And I think Justin Jefferson handled that well because just caught on television, you can hear him swearing at Cousins and being like, "Come on, why aren't you throwing me the ball?" And he responded to it by saying, I'm no diva. Justin Jefferson seems like a great player.
Yeah.
And like a good team guy too.
But I mean, you have to be understandably upset when you're that open and just not getting hit.
Yep. Yeah, and especially in a game that's that close and competitive. Right. I think, what are the areas where the Vikings could have did better this game? Because defensively, I think the Vikings are what they are on defense. I think, obviously woulda, shoulda, coulda, make the tackle here, make the tackle there. But overall, this is about, I didn't expect the Bears to score 33.
Right.
But I expected them to have a good day on offense. I expected Trubisky to throw a couple touchdowns. I didn't see Montgomery going for 150 because I don't see him as one of the top backs in the league or anything like that. I don't think
anyone saw him putting up that.
No. And to see him just run wild. And Trubisky ran all over you guys too.
Yeah, it was
just
a mess.
Brutal. You couldn't get off the field on third down. And then when it comes to the Vikings offense, I think this is where you can put some of the blame. Because it was an okay day. You scored some points. But there were key third down and fourth down calls that I thought were very bad. Early in the game, there was the 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Where I just think the Vikings coaching staff, and this is Zimmer or the offensive coordinator, Kubiak is just, I think they just believe Dalvin Cook is just a superhero and can just get it done in any situation. The Bears know you're going to run it up the middle on 4th and 1. You did it twice in the game.
Yeah.
And on 3rd and 1 too.
I think that's really the only criticism you can give of the offense. Like at a certain point, your defense just sucks. And you can't just expect the offense to pick you up every time. But yeah, the Vikings have this...
Sorry, I'm a spoiled Packers fan. I do expect the offense.
I know. Yeah. But I think this is a trend we've seen from the Vikings over the last couple of years. It just always seems like it's this way. When it comes to critical offensive plays, we're just really bad at making the right call. It just seems every time it's like, why did you make that call?
Yeah.
We've seen it over and over again in different scenarios. And it just continues now where it's like, whether it is or is not going for a 4th down or is making what seems like a much stupider call on 4th down.
Yep.
Or even just the observation I saw a lot was the fact that our 2-minute offense looks...
What 2-minute offense?
Right. It's just like, let's do the same thing and hope that it doesn't take 6 minutes, which it normally would take.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Hey, word of advice to Vikings coaching staff. 2-minute offense does not mean Dalvin Cook.
You don't need to establish the run on your 2-minute offense.
Yeah. What are you doing? And then it's the Vikings. If it's a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1, those two plays just stand out to me so much. And sure, if it works, everyone's like, okay, well, yeah, it's Dalvin Cook. Of course he gets the yard on 4th down or on the 3rd down in the 4 and out to end the game, basically. To me, it was just the most predictable play call. The Bears sold out against the run on both of those plays. They knew it was coming, and you saw the results. It was a tackle for a loss both times. And then on fourth down, they tried the goofy, bootleg, and Kirk just got ran down immediately and had to, throw it. And, it was just it was a disastrous performance on third down. And, of course, going 0-2 on fourth down, you're not going to win the game.
The really frustrating thing is something you pointed out in our prep is that you have guys like Thielen and Jefferson who are top-tier wide receivers.
Yes.
And we don't give them the same kind of opportunities we give Cook.
Yeah.
We're just we'll give it to Cook instead. And we just don't trust it to just, hey, they can take care of it. They're good wide receivers.
Look at the way that the Packers use Devontae Adams compared to the way that the Vikings use Thielen and Jefferson.
Look at the way the Packers use Marcus Valdes-Scantling. They'll trust him. He'll drop 2 passes and we're going to throw it to you again for 50 yards, see what happens.
Yeah. Or just find out ways to get the ball in those guys' hands.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. If you can't go to Cook every single time. I don't know why the Vikings they feel like they need the best running back in the league and they got to prove it every year.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's all the Vikings want. They just want the best running back in the league. They don't need a passing game when that's clearly been a strength for them over the past couple of years.
Yep.
It's sometimes you understand why Diggs wanted out.
Yeah. And get some quick pass offense going. Why don't you guys do some of that? I don't
understand, because I feel like we could make a screen passing offense that would work still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have such good playmakers on the outside. Why can't you figure out ways to utilize those guys more in the short yardage situations? Yeah. The Packers do a great job of that. You see a lot of teams have figured out ways that you can get the ball in a wide receiver's hands on a short yardage situation, and it gives you an opportunity for even a big play out of that. And if that's the guys that are Jefferson had a great game. Get it to him more.
Right.
Keep feeding him. Yep. When Devonta Adams has a great game, we keep going to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he gets 15 catches in a game.
Yeah.
It's games like that. So, I just thought we saw the Vikings for who they are in this game. They're a team they're very okay. They have certain strengths. They have certain weaknesses. They can play almost any team in the NFL close, and we've seen that this year. They played very good teams close. They've lost to the Titans by 1. They lost to Seahawks by 1. But they also lose close to bad teams.
And bad. They lost to the Falcons by
and then there's the Falcons loss, and the loss to Dallas was really bad too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they seem like they can compete with most teams. They just always seem to come out on the losing end. And I think this Vikings team is very young.
Yeah.
So are you in full... do you think this team is young, we should build?
Here's my message to Vikings fans.
Okay.
All right? Even if we had made the playoffs this year, we would have at best won 1 game. And that at best would have been fluky.
Yeah.
So if you would pin your hopes on us making a playoff run this year, you're crazy. I'm sorry. That wasn't the point. It was fun to cheer for us.
Isn't that kind of fatalistic thinking though?
It's a little bit.
Because couldn't all teams say that?
Right.
Except the Chiefs this year?
Not
if you're not a Chiefs fan,
no.
At the bottom of your heart.
I disagree.
And as a very optimistic Packers fan, even at the bottom of my heart, I still think the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs not to get completely sidetracked, but we've seen the Chiefs be beatable in a lot of games. They lost to the Raiders. They almost lost to the Broncos. They can be beat. They can have bad days. They are probably one of the 2 best teams in the league, right? It's either them or the Packers.
Yeah.
Right? But they can look beatable. So can the Packers. So I don't think the difference with the Vikings was, and it was one thing week 7, week 8, there's, hey, maybe we can turn this around. But at this point, I think we understand where our team is at. So I think the play now is try to draft some good defensive players, make our defense even better.
Yep.
And hopefully our offense is just as good. We don't make the same kind of mistakes on defense. And if we're still scoring 27 points a game and our defense is better, then we're a good team again.
Exactly. If the Vikings can come into next year with the same offense, maybe some improvements to the scheme, to play calling and stuff like that, come up with some more creative stuff, and they just add to the defense, they can come into next year as a very good team, for sure.
Yep, and more hope. Anthony Barr and what's-his-face are coming back, right?
Danielle Hunter.
Yep. So that's also some optimism. So there's optimism for next year, and I think we can look like a much better team. The real question is, for right now, because we were disagreeing about this earlier too, This year, are the Bears better than the Vikings?
I think the Bears are just a better team than the Vikings. I know we both predicted the Vikings to win this game. I thought the Vikings had some momentum. I thought they were going to make a run at a playoff spot. I really did. But I just think the Bears are a better team than the Vikings. The Bears started the season 5-1. They were getting it done. And just, if you look at every category statistically, other than offense, you know, like
other than half the game.
Well, you're right. But like, other than certain offensive statistics, you know, basically, the Bears defense is better than your defense in every way. The Bears defense has had some issues against the run. Dalvin Cook had a good game against him. It didn't matter, though, because the Bears defense was just straight up better than the Vikings defense, and it has been all year. The issue for the Bears has been their inability to score points. Mm-hmm. And that has to do with, you know, Trubisky was playing badly.
I think
got injured. Foles took over, and it was just all downhill from there. Then they changed play caller. Foles gets injured. Trubisky comes back in. Trubisky's looked great. And I think the Bears don't have a better offense than the Vikings. Like, that's an idiotic thing to argue. But at this point, their offense can perform as well as the Vikings, and their defense is just better. The Bears can and essentially have just leapfrogged the Vikings, and now what the Vikings had an opportunity to do, sneak into the playoffs, the Bears just have that opportunity now.
They have the same opportunity.
Yep.
I don't know if they have the tiebreaker over the Cardinals, but they do have an opportunity. The thing with the Bears is it's probably closer who's better than I'm willing to admit. Because I was saying, Vikings are 75% of a good team. And I think at this point we just have to accept they're 50% of a good team.
They're 50% of a good team.
The defense is not there.
They have an offense. They have no defense.
And in the NFL, you either have to, because of the salary cap and you're not going to afford enough players, either have to have an offense that's good enough to outperform the defense, or a defense that can keep your offense good enough to score the points necessary. The Bears' defense is better at allowing their offense, with their offense the way it's playing right now, the Bears' defense is better at giving the offense the opportunity to score the points they need.
Yep.
The Vikings' defense is just throwing away too many points for the Vikings.
Yeah. And, just look at the second half. When the Vikings had opportunities to climb back, you need to be almost perfect. The Vikings' offense would have needed to be almost perfect in the second half to get back in that game, just because the defense was so bad that Montgomery was just, eating tons of clock. They were getting a first down whenever they wanted. They couldn't get off the field. You put yourself in a position where your offense needs to play perfect. And unless you have Aaron Rodgers and, Devonta Adams and that stuff, your offense just isn't going to play perfectly.
Yeah.
The defense needs to improve, or this Vikings team is going nowhere.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers in second halves.
Yeah.
The Packers played the Panthers and looked unstoppable for a quarter and a half.
Great first half. We scored a touchdown on our first 3 drives. Tanyan got another one, which was great. 10 touchdowns, leads all tight ends.
Yep.
No Pro Bowl.
He got snubbed. He got snubbed.
Evan Ingram over Tanyan. Whatever.
Pro Bowls are...
It's
you know how Pro Bowls and All-Star games work. They're just... Yeah.
My grandma votes for the Pro Bowl. It goes to show. No one has any idea what they're talking about for Pro Bowl voting.
I'll be nice and I won't name names. Pro Bowl voting is kind of like one of the people in our fantasy league. Just vote for the people with the weirdest hair.
Yep. Or another person in our fantasy league, just draft people that you heard of because you haven't paid attention to football in the last 10 years, so it's just all the oldest names.
Why can't I find Peyton Manning on here?
Vote for Larry Fitzgerald. Every year. He is still good. That's the amazing thing. Yeah. But it's a popularity contest at this point. So I'm not going to put too much stock into it. But anyways, that was a bit of a tangent. Packers came out, just blew them out in the first half. I thought the game was over.
It was
21-3. It was. But the Panthers made it a very competitive game in the second half, and this one's kind of a mystery. In the second half, we got gained 214 yards to 49. That is brutal.
Yeah.
We basically went 3 and out every single possession except one where we got the field goal, which we needed that field goal.
Yeah.
That was a needed field goal to win the game.
Because otherwise it would have been a one-possession game.
Yep. And we got outscored 13-3. Thankfully, they didn't score as much points as they needed to. Like the Packers defense did just enough to win the game, but our offense did absolutely nothing. And it was very strange. I think part of what happened was Aaron Jones had so much success in the first half. Our running game just gashed him.
Yep.
Rodgers didn't have to do anything. He finished the game with like 140 yards and a touchdown. He didn't have to do much. Aaron Jones was just up and down the field in the first half. Then the Panthers adjusted to that and actually sold out against the run. Because when you come into a Packers game, you are there to stop Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. That has to be that has to be your primary goal.
So obviously credit to the Panthers for, making the adjustment to stop Aaron Jones, and they did that in the second half. And we just went 3-and-out every time because as I'm sure as a Vikings fan, you know this very well. If you run it on first and second down and it doesn't go well, that's how you go 3-and-out.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's what was happening. We had some drops too. It was just, I'm not going to put too much into the second half of the Panthers game. You have to think that the Packers probably overlooked them a little bit. We got to be looking ahead to Titans game.
My only question is, because it seems to me, and this isn't something that I have like a hard and fast stat on because I didn't look it up, but it seems to me like in the LaFleur era, this isn't the first time we've seen the Packers go out in the first half and then look stagnant in the second half.
Yep.
Do you think that's something to be concerned about for the playoffs? Like a team being able to just
obviously, you turn a 21-3 lead into a close game against a very bad team, by the way. The Panthers are not good.
Yeah.
If you do that against any one of the playoff teams except whoever comes out of the NFC East, if you do that against any other team that's going to be in the playoffs, you lose that game. 100%. You cannot get outgained by 200 yards in the second half and think you're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not going to happen. So, we can't do that. Do I think we're going to do that? Not really.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like you're good enough where it won't be the biggest concern.
If we're not playing the Panthers and we're not up 21-3, LaFleur is going to be way more aggressive with the play calling.
That's true.
Like, that's just the way it is. So I'm not all that concerned about it, and I do think it was a good game for our defense and a confidence builder for them because they had to come out and win that game, and they did because they were on the field the entire second half. They were gassed and stuff, but still got it done. Got the sacks. Got an interception. That's what you want to see. So honestly, I am more encouraged by the win over the Panthers than I am discouraged. As weird as that is to say. Because
I understand
good teams win those games, even if it is ugly.
Because you know your offense is good. That's not really a concern. Yep. So it's like, hey, what was important was that the defense looked, I understand.
If our defense can hold a team to 13 points and they dominated time of possession that much, I'm fine with it. So those are my thoughts. And it sets the Packers up in great position as we look at the playoff picture. If the Packers win this week against the Titans, big game, we clinch the number 1 seed, which is awesome.
They just need a win?
That's all we need.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's pretty cool. I think.
You guys are going to lose.
I think that's all we need.
I don't know. That sounds close enough to write to me. I didn't map it out.
If I'm wrong, yell at me.
Yeah.
But you'd have to think. Because we have the tiebreak over the Saints.
So, I think you need to win, and the Seahawks at least need to lose then.
I suppose the Seahawks would be the only other.
So the Saints. So if you guys win, the Saints game doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
But then the Seahawks need to lose.
Yeah, and I'm not super. I think the Packers pretty much got it locked up because we got the Bears next week. And maybe the Bears are the team to be scared of. Do you think the Bears are?
Maybe.
Hypothetical question.
Okay.
If you're a team that is in the playoffs right now, like you're got a playoff spot clinched.
Yep.
But you're fighting for seeding. Would you rather, to end the season, play the Bears or the Cardinals?
Bears. I'd rather play the Bears.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would
Cardinals
probably
are more dynamic.
Yeah.
Cardinals have beat better teams. They've beat the Bills.
That's true.
They've looked way better.
100%
At their best,
have
they've
better
looked
wins.
really good.
Yep.
They just haven't been consistent yet.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Speaking of seeding, though.
Yes.
The Rams just handed the Jets the 31st seed. That was amazing.
Yeah. Dude, the NFL is such a weird
Turns
place.
out all the Jets needed to do was fire Greg Williams, and now they're unstoppable.
It's the start of a new dynasty. Unfortunately, they thought the dynasty was going to be with Trevor Lawrence,
but they lost the tiebreaker. They don't have the tiebreaker with the Jags anyways.
Yeah.
So unless the Jags win one of the last 2 games and they lose out or something, they don't get the first pick anymore.
Yeah, which is, I would say, great for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's not a good place to have your career.
But they have some pieces.
But they have a few, they actually have some talent on offense, and your coach isn't Adam Gase.
Right.
So that was a great day. Do you think Trevor Lawrence was just ecstatic?
I'm sure. Yeah. I would be. Yeah.
You do not want to go to the Jets. So the Jets blew it. The Rams blew it. Everyone blew it in that game. A lot of teams blew it.
Yeah,
the Vikings blew it. The Steelers blew it. Lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Jets have more wins in the last 3 weeks than the Steelers do.
Yeah. There's Steelers fans calling for the heads of Roethlisberger, so, I mean,
yeah,
that's what happens.
The Steelers are one of the few teams in the NFL where their offense is, like, legitimately garbage and their defense is really good.
Yeah, that's true. But here's the question. What was the worst loss? The Steelers losing to the Bengals, who I think that was their third or fourth win.
Yeah.
And then, or the Rams losing to the Jets.
I think the Rams loss is worse. The trajectory as a team, I'm still more positive about the Rams than the Steelers. The Steelers have issues. They've lost 3 in a row. But just as this specific game, losing to this Jets team, which is historically one of the worst teams ever.
Yep.
That's bad. That's really bad.
It's weird because the Rams, as much as I've hyped them at certain points this year, they've looked incredibly inconsistent. Like, sometimes they do look like they're the best team in the NFC still. Yep. Some weeks they're like, oh no. Mm-hmm. Oh, this team looks very beatable.
Yeah. They have a very good defense. Their defense is strong.
Yep.
Their offense, is just
they're very much a team. It's like it comes down to Jared Goff with them a lot of times, and just some weeks he doesn't look like he.
Weirdly
has it
enough,
together.
Goff wasn't even that bad though.
It was now
It's not like there's some Ram games where it's like Jared Goff turns the ball over 4 times and okay, that's why they lost. Yep. This game, I think he turned it over once. So I was like, okay, but they went 3 and out lot.
They did what the Packers did for 1 half or 2 halves.
Yep. Pretty much. So, the NFL is so weird this year. Obviously, weird year in general, but the Bills won the AFC East.
The Browns have a legitimate shot at winning the AFC
The Browns might win. Imagine that you got Browns and Bills could both win their division. Yep. That's unheard of.
The football team could win theirs, or they probably
a team
will.
With no name might be a division winner.
Yeah, it's a crazy year.
Yeah.
Just to map it out quick, the path for the Browns play the Steelers week 17, so that's completely in their control. Steelers play the Colts, Browns play the Jets.
Yeah.
So the matchups are in their favor.
Yeah, Browns could totally steal that.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's really cool. NFC side, are the Packers far and away the best team in the NFC at this point?
I will not say far and away, but now that the Rams have lost to the Jets, you leave me no choice but to say they're the best team.
Thank you. We've made it. I've been trying to convince them all year. I've been saying the Packers are the best. And finally, and it just comes down to consistency. Yeah. Like, we played a bad game, but our offense is consistent enough that, like, you don't see this Packers team losing games to bad teams.
Yeah.
We've lost to good teams. Mm-hmm. We've lost badly to some good teams. But this Packers team has not lost to a bad team yet.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
You do want to see it, but there is a bit of truth that doesn't matter. Because, like, once you get to the playoffs, you're facing, for the most part, good teams in the NFC East.
Yes.
So,
that's true. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So
the way I'd say it is, yes, Packers are the best team in the NFC. They're by no means guaranteed to make the Super Bowl, in my opinion. The NFC is a mystery to me, who I think will make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy. The quarterbacks in the NFC are also just, you got good quarterbacks that you have to go up against.
Yep. You got Wilson, Goff, Brady, Rodgers.
Oh, we were talking about good QBs, Tim. Good QBs.
Sorry. Wilson, Rodgers, Brady, who else? What are the other?
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, he's good. Phillip Rivers is all right. Tannehill's all right. Tannehill beat the Brady Belichick. He put the nail in the coffin on the Brady Belichick era.
Nope.
Oh, that's AFC.
Yeah, now you're naming AFC, but
I'm just naming quarterbacks. Let's name quarterbacks.
We should get to picks.
Let's do it.
I had a bad week with picks. Once again, I have gotten the Packers spread wrong by a half point because Vegas is too good at setting their spreads.
Yeah.
And they keep getting me with the half point. So the spread that we picked was 8.5 points. It ended up going down to 8 later in the week, which really bummed me out.
Did you go 1-3?
I went 1-3 then because we both got the Vikings game just completely wrong.
Yep.
And then I picked Packers to win cover, and you picked the Panthers to cover, which was correct. So you went 2-2. I went 1-3. You're now 23-14. You are nailing it, and I am 19-18. I got some ground to make up. For this week, we got one big spread, Vikings at Saints. -7 for the Saints. To me, I'll just go first on this one.
Okay.
The Saints look okay with Breeze coming back. He had a decent game. They were going up against the Chiefs.
They were. That was a tough matchup. Yeah.
What do you expect? But Breeze played okay, especially in the second half. And I think we've seen that. The Saints are just a legit team. They're good. They have a very good defense. It's going to be interesting to see how your offense performs against this defense. I'm very curious for that. I know the Saints are going to put up a ton of points in this game. I want to see if the Vikings can put up a ton of points in this game. Because this will actually be a good metric going forward.
Yeah.
Of can the Vikings offense compete against a very good defense that the Saints have. I think you cover. I'm going to give you the cover. But Saints win. Expect a game in the 30s. I think this is high scoring. I think it'll be a fun game. Enjoy the Christmas shootout.
This would have been the most exciting game of the year for me had the Vikings not lost last week. It would have been playoff implications. We're going up against the Saints. As a Viking fan, you always want to watch
Such a bummer.
And now it doesn't matter. But yeah, the Vikings will for sure cover. I'm going to say they win.
Really?
Because it doesn't matter now. So I feel like we're just going to go out and win. And it's just going to be really
The weight is off your shoulders.
Yeah, we're just going to go out and win, and it's going to be the most annoying thing ever. So,
and the Vikings do tend to beat the Saints.
Yeah, so we win cover.
Wow. You might be right about that. I'm going to be rooting for you guys.
Yeah.
For sure. I want that number 1 seed. Packers game. This is a big one.
I would say this is the best opponent the Packers have faced all year.
What about the Saints?
Oh, you did face the Saints.
We beat the Saints.
You beat the Saints. That was your best win.
That's for sure our best win.
You faced the Buccaneers too and lost to them. Yeah. You're 2-3 against, or 1-2, I think, against teams that I think are not terrible. Because I put the Vikings in there too.
That's.
Otherwise, you're 1-1. Oh no, you faced the Colts too.
Yeah, lost.
Yeah,
that was bad. I don't want to talk about that game. Titans are a team that I think at first glance you're like, ooh, this is kind of a scary matchup for the Packers, and I think the spread shows it. Packers at home only 3.5 point favorites. Yeah. That seems low to me.
That's got to be your lowest spread at home all year.
Especially when, like, the Titans are a good team, but the Packers, record-wise, are the better team.
Yep.
I think the eye test were a better team. To me, that spread seems low, but I see why based on the matchup. Derrick Henry has been insane recently, and what's the knock on the Packers?
Yep.
Our run defense sucks.
Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook are your options for best running back in the league.
Yeah.
And you saw one already just demolish the Packers. Yep. So you can see why people would be... Why the Titans are a very trendy pick for the Packers.
Why I think that spread is ridiculous, that is low, is because Titans defense, not good.
That's fair.
It's not a good defense.
They've given up a lot of points in a lot of games.
I'm gonna go out big prediction here. The Titans will not have 100 yards rushing in the game.
That is a big prediction, but weirdly, I don't know if it's because I just want Dalvin Cook to end up with the most rushing yards, but I can see that happening.
And here's
blinded by bias.
The Packers are so good at jumping out to a quick lead. And this Titans team, I don't think they're built to come from behind.
No.
They have some decent receivers, but this Titans team wins their games by Derrick Henry punching it down your throat over and over and over and over again. And if the Packers are up by 2 scores, you can't do that. Yeah. And I think the Packers will be. I don't see this defense really slowing down Aaron Rodgers. And I think especially after this bad second half performance against the Panthers, they'll be out for blood. The Packers offense will jump out to a hot start. Packers win. Packers cover. I think we might even win this game by multiple scores.
Okay.
I'm feeling confident.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. The biggest strength the Titans have on defense is their secondary, right?
I would say.
So they do have a couple good cornerbacks.
Yep.
So I think that they'll be able to shut down the passing game just enough where the Packers are forced to rely on Aaron Jones more, slowing the scoring down, giving the Titans a better chance. I think the Titans win and cover.
Really?
Yep.
Dang.
So,
you think it's going to be a running back show, huh?
I do. You have a chance now to just gain ground on me because
That's true.
We've almost completely picked different. I think we only have one thing the same.
Yeah.
That's the Vikings covering.
Well, let's hope I make up some ground. That'd be Christmas wish of mine coming true.
There you go.
And that's going to do it for the show. Enjoy the holidays with your family. Stay safe with the roads being absolute garbage. I really wanted a brown Christmas, but I guess that's too much to ask around here. And we need to get dumped on with a blizzard. So
Yep.
That's fun. But,
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Thanks for, I was going to say watching, but listening, everyone.
Could have stared at a black screen for 30 minutes.
If you did, you have something wrong with you. You should probably get another hobby. But thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.